Welcome to this video presentation sponsored by ODTUG. We hope you enjoy this.
Session with PL/SQL developers.
Anything on HTML is fun.
Anything that's, not just code. Wow, you can do that.
Mm-hmm. But this conference is perfect for an Apex developer in the sense that you could do Apex or you could do PL/SQL, and both of those are 100% critical. I mean, if you had to learn just 2 of these 6 or 7 technologies, those are the 2 that you need. You could get by without knowing much about HTML and style sheets, and if you don't have much Ajax, you can get by without knowing XML and jQuery and things like that. But you can't get by without PL/SQL and Apex. It's just not possible to build something of any substance without understanding the language.
Great. I know that the same thing happens in the PL/SQL world. A good example you mentioned before was for all and bulk collect. Those have been in the database for quite some time.
Since Oracle
Yet
8i.
I ran into somebody in the hall here who told me that it was the first they'd ever heard of it.
It's not funny. It's a real problem. No, it is quite amazing that these are people who are, and these are the ones who are coming to conferences, they're coming to trainings. They seem to be the ones who actually have some level of curiosity about the language. Then there are all these other people I never meet, never talk to, and the chance that they actually are engaging with the full language features is so small. I don't really know how to fix the problem. Obviously, only a small percentage ever show up at a conference or ever will directly be engaged with. And I think, I don't know if it's different in different languages. I really wonder, like Java. Are Java programmers, on average, more curious and creative and exploratory towards their language?
Yeah.
Or not? It's hard to tell. I mean, you certainly have this impression that, all Java developers use JUnit, that you do unit testing, they do this, they do that. And I tend to doubt it. I think maybe on a percentage basis, Java developers are no more sophisticated and plugged into all the technology than a PL/SQL developer. But I know for a lot of the PL/SQL developers, the language is just a job. They're getting something done. And they're not terribly interested in PL/SQL as an intellectual thing, as a, what kind of methodology can we use to improve our coding. And I think that's really great. I think it's great that PL/SQL has created this environment in which you can come into it with very little computer background. Well, I meet people all the time who are union electricians, who are data analysts, secretaries, admins, and they just kind of moved into PL/SQL. Wow, that's really great. The downside is, they're not going to be the ones who are saying, I don't know, I don't think this is right. I think there should be a better way to do this. Let's go looking for that. It doesn't exist. So I don't know. I guess that's good for me. I'll have lots of things to surprise people with for years to come.
When we started this, Scott, you were pretty excited about the new APEX 4.0 that was announced today or discussed today. Is that something that we can expect to see more of at Kaleidoscope in Washington?
Oh, absolutely. We're working with the folks from Oracle to make sure that they have a number of presentations focusing in on the 4.0 features. It will be about released or just released or somewhere in that realm of just hitting the market or about to hit the market. So it's going to be hard for us, the experts who aren't going to have a lot of hands-on time with it, to really crank up good presentations. So I think we're going to be looking to Oracle to help us. And that's, again, one of the big benefits of this conference is the Oracle Apex team is just totally committed. They always send a good number of their team, including the top. They're not just sending the product manager, which is huge when they do, but they send the VP and the director of all the database tools to not just be here, but to present, to interact with people. And there's no conference, or very few conferences, that you get to just see that presenter after they're done. You don't get lost in the shuffle. You can go find them, sit down, ask more questions. So I think it'll be exciting because a lot of stuff will be still 3.2 or maybe a few people willing to try the 4.0 type presentations. But to get it directly from Oracle, and they've been so supportive of this group and all the conferences we do, it'll be probably the first place that much 4.0 information is going to be available.
That's great. I presume we'll be able to look forward to seeing some of the Oracle people like Bryn Llewellyn in Washington as well.
I imagine Bryn will be there. It's hard to get the PL/SQL team to leave their roost. Bryn's job is to be out there in the public, and I think their perspective, the dev manager's perspective, really is go do your job. We're going to do our job, which is writing code. So if ODTUG has its conference right next to Redwood Shores, right next to Oracle headquarters, we can probably get the dev manager to show up. That's how we did it for OPP, I think 2 years ago. We asked them, what would it take? We want the dev manager from the PL/SQL team to come. I said, well, you have the conference within 10 miles of Redwood Shores, and we'll be there. And they were there.
Well,
so it's like a different perspective. It's interesting.
Yeah, but Mike lives 10 miles from the Marriott in D.C., so he'll definitely be there. But his group is scattered. That team's scattered all over not just the United States now, but in Europe as well. But they're They're very committed. They're very excited. And I think that may be the difference between some of the passion that Apex has that you're saying that you don't see as much, because I think you could see an Apex app, right? I could produce something that's tangible that I can show you, where so much PL SQL is just code that runs in the background.
That could be a part of it.
And I wonder if that's why people are so excited to show off what they've done. I don't think I've ever met someone that says, here, sit down, let me execute this procedure. Was that cool? I mean, yeah, it was. Maybe it did a lot of sophisticated things, but there's no tangibility there. You can't see it. So a lot of the UI, the jQuery, the new Web 2.0 stuff, that has a wow factor and a sizzle factor that not just PL SQL, but no programming language could really compete with.
That may be a part of it. I think it's a different perspective too. I think that the PL SQL development team should be more engaged. I think they made a mistake historically of basically just keeping to themselves and not really promoting the language. And Bryn's out there doing stuff, but one person isn't enough. And people get excited about meeting the developers.
Absolutely.
No question about it.
Yep.
So I'd like to see that change, but I don't think it's going to change. It's just the way it is. Oh well.
Well, I think we probably need to wrap this up. I'd like to thank you two for giving us your time this afternoon and for this wonderful presentations at the conference that we just finished up here. Look forward to seeing you again in Washington, D.C. for Kaleidoscope 2010.
Definitely, and I just, again, want to thank ODTUG for taking on the sponsorship of these seriously practical focused conferences, because I think it's very clear, and I've heard it from a lot of people at the conference today and yesterday, this is so much better than Oracle Open World. I mean, that's fun, they say, but, it's just crazy. You get lost, and here you with other people who do the same kind of stuff. It's very focused, very intimate. So it's a great model for ODTUG to promote to other user groups and to follow and do more of.
And I've heard one complaint multiple times. I do have to bring it up. I want to attend everything. How do I attend multiple sessions at the same time? That's the one thing I've had 3 or 4 people say is like, where do I go? And in a way, that it's good. I've had people come and say, can you help me plan out my week? I'm a beginner. I just started using Apex. I want to go see jQuery. Oh, no. You're going to go over here because this is going to be way over your head. Start at this one, then maybe jump over to this one. But that's really the one complaint, and I'm sure you're hearing it too.
Right.
I want to see everything.
I don't know what the solution is besides make it longer, and I think we've already found that 2 days are pretty much what people can, can use to get away. I guess we could make them longer days. When we first did OPP, we went until like 7:30 at night, I think. Yeah, we did at least 1 extra session every day. And today we would have done 2 more than we're doing. Yes. We did a good job burning people out. So kind of step back from that. But that's right. That's the main complaint.
Yeah, the real answer is to come to Kaleidoscope.
Or do 2 of these a year.
Yeah.
No, that's right. People should definitely go to Kaleidoscope. It's a similar experience. It's a slightly larger scale, but there's also an additional synergy that you get with 400 or 500 people, or 8 or 100 or whatever we'll get, compared to a couple of hundred. Both good sizes. Good. Come to all of them.
Great. Look forward to version 2010. We'll see what's coming in. Maybe we'll know more about new features in whatever the next release of Oracle is, the next release of Application Express. So I'm sure it'll be worth everybody's while. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.
No, thank you.
We hope you enjoyed this video broadcast from ODTUG. If you'd like to see more of the same, please come to Kaleidoscope 2010, the Wardman Park Marriott in Washington, D.C. For more of these kinds of videos and lots of other information, go to www.odtug.com.